Okay, hey everybody. We're going to be talking about air exchangers today. A lot of people probably don't know much about them and that, but from my experience in the last 5 years of having this one, it is phenomenal. It really helps. So we'll get into how it works and the yearly cleaning of this unit. You'll see what I'll be cleaning here in a sec. So, for what a lot of people don't know is the air exchanger will bring in fresh air from outside, filter it, and then put it into your house. And it'll take out stale exhaust air from your house. Works very well. It can be a little tricky to balance out throughout the house without a meter. So I'd much rather have a meter and do it, but I've done okay, I think. So as for the units, let's get inside of this and I'll show you how it works and what it does. I just got two clips on the bottom. I've already shut it off. So then we'll just, it's pretty sealed. So now we'll just pull that down. Now, as you can see, one of the filters was stuck. It is a little wet because it's winter time, so it is defrosting. Right now, we are currently -3 degrees outside, and it is 19 degrees in here, so condensation is going to happen. So now that we got the unit open, as you can see, there's a big white core. That's your heat recovery system. So what happens is when it's exhausting air out and bringing in fresh, the exhaust air from your house will come from here, goes through here, up through certain slots on this side, and come out into here, and then it goes outside. Now this one up here is your fresh air. Fresh air will come in from outside, go down through this filter, through a different set of slats on this side, and go into the house. Now with the air crisscrossing, the warm air that's being exhausted is heating up the cool air coming in. So that you get about 70% of your heat back, so you don't lose it all. Now, it does cause condensation and it will dehumidify a little bit. It's not a big thing, it does just a little, but it does work. So that's how the heat recovery works. Now you can get a different model that has a HEPA filter down here. I wish I had gotten it, but at the same time, the filters are $100 a year. So I went with this because these filters are washable. So we can keep reusing them nonstop. So that's another reason why I went with just this. But at the same time, I wish we had more. Now I like to do this in the fall after you get the first frost or starts to snow. That way there's no more pollen and stuff in the air. So you can get this nice and fresh for the whole winter is what my plan is. So we'll just pull out these filters. Oh, and you can see that one's from the air from outside. It's got a bunch of junk in it, but that is to be expected. So these I clean every 3 months. The unit upstairs that you saw me shut off will have a little wrench on it telling me it's been 3 months, so I'll clean the filters. So we're gonna do that today, but also once a year I clean this, and I like to clean it in the fall because after all the pollen and everything's out of the air, this is your best time to clean it, and then you got fresh air all winter. So this just slides out too. Okay, it's a little stuck, but there we go. See, it just slides out. Oh, and it is full of water. Wow. Yeah, it's in need of a major cleaning. So how we clean this, the instructions are right here on it, but I take it upstairs and I soak it in a vinegar dish soap bath for a good hour to 2 hours. Really gets it all cleaned out inside. And then I will take the shower head on its highest setting and then I'll shoot down through the channels. So you can see it's got one type of channel this way for the air to go through. And then on the opposite side, you can see that the channels are different. So that way it recovers the heat as the heat travels through this. So quite a simple, little ingenious design, but it works great. The fresh air throughout the winter coming in is so nice. You can tell when it's in exchange mode because the fresh air that comes in the house is so nice. Yeah, that definitely needs a good solid cleaning. So that's the basics on how it works. We'll get into a little bit more detail, but right now I'm going to take the core upstairs and put it in its bath so it can get cleaned, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, as you can see here, I'm going to start adding the vinegar and the dish soap to get this all soaking and cleaned up. I already put a bit in here before I started recording, so that seemed like a little, but I've already put lots in there. Now I'm going to put a little dish soap in here as well. That should be good, and then we'll just crank her up with the hot water. So what we'll do is we'll leave it in here for about a half hour. Then I'll flip the core over so that way it can get into the other channels better as well. And then within an hour, it should be nice and clean. We'll wash it down and rinse it, and then we'll get back to putting it inside. I did decide to do this same with these filters. Normally I don't, but it's been a little while, so I'm going to give them a good solid cleaning. Oh yeah, look at the junk already coming up out. Okay, may not get it to stay totally down because it is plastic and it likes to float. Might get something to sit on there to hold it. Let's see if the vinegar bottle itself will work. There we go. That'll work. So we'll let that sit for a little bit and we'll be back later. Now that the core and the filters are soaking for this next hour, we're going to get this unit all cleaned out. Now we had some problems with bees earlier this year, and I just noticed that we have a few in there. They're dead, obviously. Probably been in there for a while now. I hadn't checked it this closely in a few months. So I'm going to get in there and I'm going to clean this up. So. Okay, now we've got a little bit of a mess down here as well. So we'll just make sure we get these all out of here. There we go. And it's a little wet in here. Okay. Okay, so I got the little bees and that out of there. I don't know if you'll be able to see them on the camera. Nah, you won't be able to see them, but got them out of there. If nobody knows, Tiff's allergic to them, so yeah, I'm stuck cleaning this. I don't know if I'm allergic or not. I've never been stung, so. But either way, that's now been dealt with. So now we'll continue on. So now what I like to use is just use some wipes. Very simple little wipes, and then we can just clean the rest of this all up. Get it all nice and clean for the winter.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Cause you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, no, me be me, and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into
It actually got really dirty this year.
baby, have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no, you'll never be the same. I don't really want to hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we can.
I'm going to clean these fan blades as best I can, but I've never taken this apart and I don't want to, so I'm just going to try to play it by ear. We had a lot of dust and a lot of pollen this year. I've never seen this thing this dirty, so we'll get her all cleaned up. It'll work really nice. So all I'm doing is just reaching up there and then just kind of using my hands to clean it. It's about the best I can do. There probably is better ways of doing this, but I've already got the job done, so there we go. Now at the top feels the same way too. So grab another disinfecting wipe and try again. Wasn't too bad, but it was definitely dirty. And we'll just wipe it all down to disinfect it, clean it all up. Because you got to remember, this is the air that you're giving to your whole house. Oh, look at that. That'll make that easier. I'll just pull that right out of there. There we go.
Said you felt that way. I guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
Okay, there we have it. The inside unit is now all cleaned, so now we just gotta wait for the core and the filters to soak, and then we'll give them a good rinse, and then we'll reinstall them. But for right now, I'll take you outside and I'll show you where the air comes in and where the air is the exhaust, and we'll make sure that they're not clogged again. Okay, we'll see you then. Okay, everybody, here we are. We're outside. As you can see, our dryer vent there, but this one below it is the air exhaust. So exhaust air is going to come out of here. It's not obviously not running at the moment, but there it is. And yeah, don't mind the siding. I did not notice how dirty that got either. Looks like something I'll have to do next spring, because the whole siding back here is pretty bad shape. Now then, over here we've got the air intake, and there's the bee's nest I pulled out of there. That was clogging this thing up. So you can still see some of the evidence down there, but it looks like it's still all clear. So let's pull it out of here and see. Okay, does not want to come out. I must have put it in there really good. Okay, one sec. Okay, I'm not going to worry about taking it off. I know I could see in there that it was nice and clear. I can't really see that on camera, but it's nice and clear. So there's the air intake, and there's the exhaust and the dryer vent one right above it. So that's where it gets the fresh air, so you got to make sure those are nice and clean. Okay, well, the inside should be almost done, so let's go check on it. Well, it's been a little bit longer than an hour, so about an hour and a half to almost 2 hours. So now let's pull this out of here and give it a rinse down. Let's see how it did. Yeah, we'll rinse that off. In a sec. Really strong vinegar smell. So here's the core. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's looking much better. So then we'll dump this water out. Oh, pull that drain plug. Whoa! Okay, that went a little faster than planned, so you got a little fun. Yeah, even the wife out in the living room had a good laugh. Okay. Oh, look at that. Another bee was in there. We got a bee floating in the water. Wow, there more came through than we knew. I think I'm going to put a screen on it, a better screen on it. Maybe use that window screen, because clearly they can get through the screen that was on there. Okay, so there we are. We're all clean. You hear the dog barking in the background. But now we'll go downstairs and we'll reinstall this. Okay, we're back down in the basement now. I brought the core and the filters down. So now let's get them reinstalled and then we'll explain a little bit more on how this works. So here we go. As for the core, it tells you how to put it in, what side up, and where the filter locations belong. So really simple. We'll just line this back up and get it installed. It can be a little tricky until you figure it out, but you got to get all the sides lined up. And there we go. Once you get it lined up, it slides right in. Then just take your filters and put them back in where they belong, just like that. Very simple to do. As you can tell, they are still a little wet, but I don't worry about that too much. What we'll do is we'll throw it into turbo mode, which will run for 4 hours. That's the highest speed, but it'll help dry out all this and get the whole system back up and running. So now that this is all done, one thing that you need to know is how it works. So for every hour during the day, 10 to 15 minutes of that, it'll exchange air from outside. The rest of the time, it just recirculates the air inside. So how it happens is right now, this is in recirculate mode. So the fresh air from the house comes in this pipe here, goes up through here, then down through this core into this fan, which blows it back into the rest of the house. Now there's no air from outside at this current setting. Now when it goes into exchange mode, then this door down here will flip up, letting this air go in through this filter, up through the core, and into this fan, which it blows it outside. Now this door up here, which is blocking the fresh air coming in, will come down, block this opening here, where you can see my fingers come through, block that opening. Fresh air will come in, go through this filter, down through the core on here, and then into this fan, which will blow it back into the house. Now, when the hot air is going up through here, the cold air that's coming in absorbs that heat, so it heats it back up. You get about 70% of your heat back, so it's not so bad. The other way it determines what it's doing, because we run it in auto in the winter, so there's a temperature sensor up here that detects how cold the air is coming inside. Original models had an issue where they would freeze up and then the motors over here would catch on fire. So they solved that problem by putting in the temperature sensor now. Works really well. If you pay attention to your system, it should be fine anyway. So, but other than that, these things are really good. I did look it up, and it is mandatory in Canada that these be put into all new home builds, mainly because the new houses are sealed up so much more than older houses. So you need that fresh air, otherwise you're going to have carbon monoxide problems. So these units really help out in that. Plus, it's nice having that fresh air, especially in the middle of winter, and all of a sudden you get that nice, crisp, fresh air from outside, but you're inside. It's really nice. These units do go for about $1,000, but I say it's really worth it for your health and everything. It really brings in some nice fresh air. Not a whole lot more to say about them. They just work. You can have these even if you have a furnace, because then they'll just hook up into your return air to your furnace. It'll pull air from before it gets to the furnace, and then it'll run through this unit, and then it'll get pumped back into your furnace right before it goes into the furnace to be blown back into the rest of your house. Work the same way, gives you some nice fresh air throughout the whole house, along with your heat. So I really recommend all of these, even if you're in an older house. You can retrofit these because you can just pipe them. As you can see, I got my own piping up here because the old system was hooked up differently than the new one. They changed that too, where the air comes in and exhausts. This is a much better system. So here in a minute, I'll go show you around the house where the air is pulled out of the house and where the air is brought back in. The key here is you want to exhaust the air from your kitchen, bathroom, laundry room, and your basement. There's one right over here in the basement. I'll show you. There's a exhaust and a fresh air inlet around the corner. So, and then bedrooms and living room, you want to have the fresh air come in, so that way it circles nicely around the house. So let's go take a look at that. And first, let's get this cover back on, and then we'll take around on the tour of the house and show you how they're set up in this house. Every house will be different. And by the way, this is not a paid sponsored or nothing. We've had this unit for many, many years, long before we were doing YouTube videos. So, put it back on. It's pretty simple. Just a couple of little clips here. Just stick them over on. And once you got it in place, just pull your little clips like so. As you can see, there it is a little wet because I had the core sitting on top of it. Not a big deal. Okay, so let's go and take a look at everything else around the house. There's one of the air returns down here in the basement. As you can see, it's easily adjustable. All I have to do is turn it, and it gets nice and bigger. But I don't want it that far open, so I'll just close it up a little bit. Probably gonna have to readjust everything, but we'll get to it. And there's one of the fresh airs coming in right there. That's one in the basement. So, and then here's another one in a bedroom. Another one that you just turn and it opens it right up. So, you can put them on the wall or the ceiling. It doesn't matter. They work just as good. Now these ones up here are a little bit different. As you can see, they don't turn, you just pull them. Now, as you can tell, I have that one wide open. But that's for, the reason is, it's our living room. Big open area, as you can tell. And this one here is an air return, same as the living room one, same style. So it's not as open because we want the bathroom and laundry room to have the same ventilation. As you can see, this is down here in our kitchen right now. So it pulls up all the air from the kitchen. We are back at the panels. Now we're going to turn it back on. And there we go. Oh, pushed it too many times. There we go. See, you can It's 4 degrees right now down in that unit. That's because it hasn't been running. It's recirculating from outside. You can see the arrows. But now I'm going to slap it into turbo and give it some extra air. Now you can see the tornado. That'll run for 4 hours and then it'll go back to auto mode. So, okay, so there you have it. That's our air exchanger. Like I said earlier, I'd highly recommend them. Really nice having that fresh air all year round. So, hope you like this and we'll see you next time.